Welcome, my digital pathology trailblazers. I'm excited to talk to you today from DPAI by Global Engage Digital Pathology and
Learn about the newest digital pathology trends in science and industry, meet the most interesting people in the niche, and gain insights relevant to your own projects. Here is where pathology meets computer science. You are listening to the Digital Pathology Podcast with your host, Dr. Alexandra Zhurov.
So let me do this first. I have another microphone because I have a special guest, and then the other announcement is my laptop is not charging, so I don't know how much time we have. So let me bring her in, my favorite co-presenter for my live streams. Welcome, Imogen. I have Imogen Fit from Signify Research. We have to mic her up, and it's 7 a.m. and we have people. You guys are amazing. I'm so amazed when you join these things live. So it's the end of year conference. So end of year conference, the last conference that definitely I'm going to be attending. Is there any other conference? No, that's the last one.
No, it's time
right?
for holidays and break.
Right, I think so too. So a quick update: what has happened here, and what happened in the digital pathology space in 2025?
What has happened?
Yeah, what has happened?
There's been a lot of news recently, hasn't they? Leica have expanded their portfolio, and they've got some new products that they've launched specifically at this event. So it's been great to see them.
Yes, what did they launch? The little scanner, right?
Yeah, so they launched a new range of different sizes. So if you want, you don't have to have the GT450. You can have a look and honestly go to their website and check out the press release. They also got FDA clearance with Indica Labs.
So now, the viewer, yes, and Indica Labs and Leica joined forces. Let's call it a collaboration. I'm going to be talking more about it in detail. I just don't want to give you the messaging that is not correct, so to say. Do you have better messaging? Because you write reports, and I'm going to be working with them as a sponsor. I'm super excited.
So what they do is early this year, if you remember, they announced a significant strategic investment. So the company has now sort of purchased a stake in Indica Labs, and what they were doing was co-developing their own specialist platform that they developed because they had their IMS already, but for clinical use. They're also doing a lot of companion diagnostics development as well. So that's got some really good implications for the future. As you know, one of the bigger trends this year was CDX, predictive prognostic pathology, those sorts of things.
Yes. This is so let's talk about higher level trends for 2025. That obviously the vendors that are here they're having the last push for 2025, maybe doing some releases. But so what I have seen, what you just said, the prognostication with the Artera de Novo for prostate cancer, and so that is still in the research space, the AstraZeneca quantitative
QCS?
QCS, quantitative. What is it? Quantitative continuous scoring. Continuous scoring of TROP2. So that's a new wave of diagnostics, and I'm super excited about this because this is the first thing that a pathologist cannot really you cannot not do it not digitally. You have to do it digitally. That's one thing. The other thing that I have seen, and we can dive deeper into any of them, is partnership of different companies that constitute one workflow. So from staining to sign out, or from staining to image analysis, and you will have the stainer. So, for example, Biocare Medical partnered with Hamamatsu for multiplexing, and with Visgen for multiplexing. And I think Zeiss partnered with Visgen as well, and MindPeak for image analysis. So this whole chain of things that you would have to do in the lab, and you have vendors already collaborating and figuring stuff out together, so that when you decide to go digital, you don't have to figure it out for yourself, which is a significant, I would say, logistical and cognitive burden on the labs to figure out you don't have to go with the workflow, but you can. So I think it's useful. Anything else on your end?
Well, labs typically, they purchase either in two ways. They either tend to go really quickly to digital, and you have to purchase a sort of a scanner, IMS, and AI if you want it all in one go. Or they go through like incremental adoption where, okay, they purchase the scanner, they use the viewer, they kind of get used to it for a little bit, and then they find more funds to sort of start to really scale the number of slides that are scanned, and that's when they need the IMS and the AI, and they start thinking about the AI itself. But what we're seeing is those that tend to go quite quickly are starting to realize the benefits of digitization now. So you see, I'm hoping for more case studies in 2026 where we can go like, this is what we've done, this is how much money we've saved.
Yes, I hope so, because so the thing with digital pathology is you're not going to get your ROI immediately.
No.
And the slower you go, the later you're going to see it. So like being able to go fast is going to bring you that benefit, financial benefit, and the benefit for your patients a lot faster. So I heard numbers 18 to 24 months to get ROI, but this is, citation from a presentation that I attended.
Depends on the size of the
what do you
institute and
see?
how many sort of slides you scan, and there's a lot that goes into it as well, and whether or not you use AI, because obviously ROI you can put in, you can put in things like efficiency gains, or like the number of cases you process as a private lab per year, or you can put in the money saved from not misdiagnosing
shipping,
a patient, not
misdiagnosing.
shipping. You can also do, as like some of the vendors have launched new products this year with like Path Presenter with Consult Connect and Aperture with Proscia, and those kinds of products are designed to make you money from the get-go.
And I love that, because you just are profitable from the get-go, which
it takes a little while, but
I know, but it's like you have a case to go to whoever is giving you the money for this, to say, hey, it's gonna bring money, because for the longest time it was like, oh, we have to wait, we have to figure it out, we have to convince everybody, and it's challenging endeavor. Did you attend a lot of talks?
I haven't actually this time around. I've been chatting to everybody.
See, I did the opposite. This time I actually went to talks. I have notes. I went to several. I gave one. Did you give a talk this time?
I didn't give a talk this time. No.
I gave one. And you know what I did?
Are we allowed spoilers? Like the,
it's already on the podcast. Because I was, good morning, because I was practicing it in the morning, and then I sent it to my team, and I'm like, put it out, but only after I talk. But guys, you know what I did? I went on the scene and started like fussing with stuff, and touched my Meta glasses, and they started speaking to me. And I had to excuse myself and say, excuse me, I need to switch off my glasses because they're playing my audiobook. But my talk was about basically that education drives adoption. And then we had a round table on this. I had quite nice discussions. And one thing that keeps coming up is that people are still afraid. Everybody who's new to this, to AI specifically, AI is a little bit of a scary word for people. And by people, I mean both pathologists and patients. And I heard stories that there were clinical, not specifically in the digital pathology space, but clinical trials that had some AI-powered tools. And when the patients realized it was AI, just this word AI, without actually understanding what the tool was doing, they would withdraw from the trial.
Really?
So that's sad. And I mean, that's sad, because we need to do a better job of conveying what it is, so that people have all the information necessary to decide. Because I think to me it sounded like it was a fear-based decision rather than informed.
I suppose there's not much publicized and readable around how AI is used in trials, and obviously Path AI have recently got their, the FDA's put their stamp on their MASH solution for clinical trials. So I suppose as more digital endpoints are actually recognized by regulatory authorities, that should help that process. But it sounds like there's some messaging that's needed.
Yes,
for
at the different
themselves.
level, at the level where you actually are communicating with your physician. I think there is a lot of regulations where you need to communicate that AI was used, and people get alerted and get triggered by that, instead of describing the tool. And it is, so there's a lot of I don't know, like you say, different type of publicity or education to be able to benefit from these tools. So that come into the camera. You're leaving the camera here. Yeah. Anything else? I actually attended a talk about MASH. but like on the research side, in
Did
the
you?
pharma track. So in this conference, if you wanna, and like I ask you a question, then I immediately interrupt you. But let's just tell you if you are thinking of coming to this conference. So Global Engage is the company that's organizing this, and they have been doing this for like 11 years.
It's a long, long time.
They like
and they have they don't just have the London one.
Yeah, they have like 4 different
America,
ones: US, Asia,
and then they have like
London.
specific ones for like beyond digital pathology for like
Spatial biology. They
Spatial.
have spatial biology. So nicely organized event with 3 different tracks. So there's the clinical, there's pharma, and what else is there? There's a third one. So apologies, Global Engage, for not knowing exactly what the third track is, but I can check it in the agenda. But yeah, now I shut up, find it, and you tell me your insights before we run out of battery.
Do you want insights for 2025 or
Yes,
insights?
First, tell me like impression from the conference, a little bit like, would you recommend people to come?
So it's a good conference for if you want to talk to a lot of people that sort of know a lot about digital pathology. It's on your doorstep as well if you live in London, so that's really convenient.
Or if you fly in from Poland, that's not too far either.
There's some really cool after parties as well, I'd say.
Yeah, let's talk about the after party, because the after party is special. It was organized by Pathology News, this one, and they take you with the double-decker bus to the party. That was so cute.
And it's at a nice time of year as well, I think. Like everybody likes to, this is kind of end of Q4 for some of the companies that are operating, and everybody's in good spirits because we're about to break up and we're about to go into a new year. So the conference itself has been really engaging. It's been great to connect with some of the vendors, especially as they've made announcements recently. And a lot has happened this year.
Cool, because you can have all the insights before like the new thing in January comes out, and it's like, okay, so we have computational pathology, digital pathology, and AI in pharma, and then implementation challenges. I think these are the tracks, which I very much like this track of implementation challenges, because not too many people talk about this. Like, it's not fun to publicize negative results or talk about what didn't work, but I did hear some talks like with genuine information, how things went wrong and how they like fixed it.
It's needed though, isn't it, as well, to help everybody else feel comfortable and leapfrog.
That, because now like I keep hoping for bigger adoption, but I mean it's getting bigger and better every year.
Yeah.
And then you have I used to be like, oh, why are people still asking these questions? And I'm like, think, Alex, they are starting the journey. So of course they're asking the questions that people were asking before when they were starting the journey. And the questions would be like, yeah, basically like, how much, is it safe?
Yeah.
Are we gonna be replaced as pathologists? I was in a talk and they gave this example that, oh, there was an AI solution that would triage lymph nodes for metastasis. And when the solution provider was telling the pathologist that, hey, now you're not gonna have to read the lymph nodes anymore, it's such a time-consuming task, some pathologists were sad because they thought it was therapeutic and they liked reading lymph nodes. And I can relate to that because in ToxPath, like 90% of the stuff you look at has nothing.
Right.
And I enjoy it. Like once I know that there is nothing to expect, I like relax, look at these images. Sometimes I listen to something.
It's nice Friday tasks, you know, really easy. Yeah.
You cannot really predict it, but I can relate to that. Like, don't take away my lymph node struggle.
Yeah, I suppose you get to get more done though, don't you? So
do you have like, but then do you have to be like on 100% all the time?
No, not all the time.
So that was also a topic, a theme in the roundtable. Basically, like, okay, now we're gonna have. Let's imagine a future that like all these tools are actually working. Agentic AI is another trend that I wanted to mention. That agents are coordinating all the software. You have to just like read through it, check, and like make sure that it's not incorrect. Yeah. And then what? You're supposed to like get another load of work for that time? Or maybe we should only work 20 hours, right? Well, and it was kind of a philosophical discussion, but what do you think? Like if all of this would be working, and let's see, we still have some battery.
I guess it's about the role evolving as well. So you could go less of those like low value tasks that are really easy and maybe like 90% of them are incorrect. But in turn, you also get to focus on more of those ones where they're really interesting. And that that's got benefits for like patients or the research itself, because it drives it forward a lot more. But it also,
No problem.
if you look at like the role of the pathologist and where it's going, like compared to radiology, those departments aren't funded very well. But as you start to like increase task and focus on more of these like high value tasks that are really complex, you start to shift the role of the pathologist, and you start to shift how it is that they're sort of perceived in, you know, the organization itself, and that can be a good thing.
Yes, you are touching on super important point, that the role of the pathologist, the role of the physician, like in different domains, is going to be changing, and it's going to be a shift and the perception of the expert. Because I think with these tools, sometimes there may be a tendency to like exclude the domain expert from the loop, because now you have the tool and domain experts are expensive, they are always a bottleneck, but they have this expertise that is mandatory to have a good tool and to make this tool safe.
I mean, AI is never going to replace pathologists, because at the end of the day, somebody needs to make the decision on the case, and it'll always support them. That there's, you know, nobody wants to get sued for using AI, and none of the vendors want that responsibility on themselves. So it can be really good. It won't ever replace. It might replace certain tasks that
I see a little bit like dangerous behaviors in the research space.
Oh.
Where like you have researchers from other domains that like want to go faster, want to like do more with methods that require tissue interpretation, but skip the expertise of the pathologist to interpret tissue. So I'm kind of like, I don't tend to be afraid of these things. And like, I tend to think, no, it's going to be okay. We have this expertise. But then like, I'm kind of started being a little bit more vigilant, because I want this perception to shift in the direction that, hey, you still need this expertise, and it's not only important, it's a necessity. And that's another trend I'm seeing. A couple of validation papers came out. I had a few guests on the podcast. One of them, Dr. Andrew Janowick, he published a paper on deployment of digital pathology tools. And what he says is like, okay, the list of co-authors was like so long, I don't know, very long. And his first co-first author, like there are two first authors, he's one of them, and the other one is a validation person.
Yes.
And because I asked him, like, how did you end up as the first author of a validation effort? He's like, no, I had another first author who actually is an expert in that field. But basically what he said is, now in these deployment efforts and in these like institutional, basically deployment efforts, there's not one person that's going to be responsible for the effort anymore, and nor will there be a person that can reproduce this work on their own. So it's very much removed from, okay, the researchers in the lab or in front of their computer where they could do the whole project and then write up a thesis. Very different thing than deployment in an institution.
Yeah.
So I think we're going there, not only because it's complex to do stuff in the institution, but also because like we're discovering new biology, like the QCS. And then you basically, like with the complexity of the biology, you need more people. I went to one talk that was about multiplexing. I could follow it for maybe like 15 minutes. And then when they started like moreplexing, hyperplexing, barcoding of things, I'm like, I guess I would need another expert to help me with that. I can help with like the tissue recognition and telling you if it's in the right compartment, if it's in the tumor stroma, whatever, like what my expertise is. But like, like went exponential from stuff that I understood it could relate to something this like deep research that I've never done. So
those are some beautiful images as well, though, aren't they?
I know. Oh my goodness, they're amazing, the multiplex images. But yeah, so like with the advancements in biology, we're kind of pushing the diagnostic or the clinical space into this research realm, not in terms of like lack of regulation or flexibility, but in terms of the complexity of the methods that we will need to be using. It's not just going to be H&E and we're done. It's not just going to be IHC. It may be 3 IF markers, or maybe like some other, these, I don't even remember what they're called, but these probes that's like fish probe-ish probes, but they're new generation.
It's really exciting as well, some of what is going to be possible. Like with that AI, you'll be able to measure stuff that you couldn't do before, and you'll be able to look into like the spatial relationships. And it might be a while before we start measuring, and using multiplex in clinic, but it's coming. And because that's kind of the reason that Hamamatsu have launched their lowplex. What is it, Moxiplex?
Moxiplex, yes.
Which is really interesting, and they've got that up in practice and sort of being tested by Sirona. So, yeah, it's something. And the other thing as well is that pathology as a discipline is going to merge a little bit more with the genomics realm. And I think that was one of our predictions earlier this year. And I was really excited to see like more like of it coming through. I was like, yes, we were right.
It's always so exciting when you say something, oh, it's going to be important, it's going to happen, and then it actually happens. Gives you some credibility that you understand what you're talking about. Something came to my mind when you were saying this. It will come back.
There's lots of examples of that happening this year. It's like with Tempus acquiring Page, like they're a real world data, but they also do lots of genomic services and studies. And the AI that they release is really interesting. So they've published some cool papers, and they're looking to use those data sets from Page to do some really funky things.
Exactly.
Spoilers.
And by funky things, we mean genomic predictions from H&E. So this is like the door that opened with deep learning AI transformer-based architecture, where you can basically label slides for deep learning with the genomic data.
And before that, there's going to come like really, like comparatively, it sounds simple. So they're looking at developing algorithms that tell you like how much they're to do with the fact that is there enough of a sample for them to do the molecular testing anyway, so that they don't have to go back and so it avoids that kind of
I love this kind of approaches, because it's like, okay, because then you will always argue, okay, the prediction from the computer is not going to be as good as the real sequencing that you're going to be doing, right? So why would you go for the computer? And there are use cases where you would want to do that, because if you don't have resources for sequencing, or if time, and there's a publication I need to mention in a second, but basically this approach where like, okay, we don't have enough sample to do molecular anyway, so we don't have a choice, let's do AI-based, which is fantastic, because that's better than nothing.
Book the patient in earlier and get them for another thing, so that we can either confirm, like some of the genomics tests will be replaced, and some of them are always going to be around. It's just in like settings you were like, those sequences are expensive. You get the tabletop versions, you get the like really big versions that light up and like glow. Have you seen some of them? I really like it. So they can be quite like cost prohibitive for labs, and a lot of it is done outsourced by like private labs instead of in healthcare hospital settings themselves. But if you have and obviously you pay for that. So if you have an algorithm that tells you sort of what you need to know, and doesn't confirm it precisely, but helps.
You know what they did? So this publication, I've been citing this freaking publication for 3 years and waiting for the next one to come out. So it was by Imagine AI, and it was a case report, and Dr. Barlitz Weissengren, this was a publication coming out from Israel, where they did exactly that. They did mutation prediction. I think it was, I don't remember. Anyway, but I'll find this paper and put it in the show notes later. But basically, they cut the turnaround time, or like the time to decision about treatment, because it was lung cancer with brain metastasis, from 2 weeks that they would have to wait for next gene sequencing to 2 days. And it was based on this prediction. And what they did later to confirm the prediction was a simple PCR that they could do in-house. So it's not that you blindly trust the AI prediction and you like go with like crazy treatment, chemo, and stuff that has a lot of side effects. No, you take a simple method and you confirm what you predicted, and it was confirmed, and they shortened this time. So I'm like, I've been excited about this publication for like literally 3 years. So I hope there's going to be more this time now with this acquisition, and basically, this is such a cool potential of basically doing this with computers from H&E.
Anything else you want to talk about for 2025? And
Agentic AI,
yeah,
I touched on it. Agentic, I don't see here a lot of agentic AI
not any
vendors,
specific focus
no.
companies. It doesn't mean to
Excuse me.
say that some of the AI guys aren't working on bits and pieces,
No.
but you know, like Modelo and vendors that have formed with that specifically in mind, they've obviously got a stronger footprint in the brain because that's their product. Whereas if you've got a whole portfolio, it's harder to stand out. But they got breakthrough device designation, and there was a lot of that this year. So next year we should see some really cool use cases.
I'm excited about agentic AI. I'm more excited about agentic AI than AI reading lymph nodes, because this like clicking and opening stuff is not as therapeutic as looking at slides. But yeah, what I have seen since not this Path Visions, but last year, integrations of different agents into image management systems.
Yes.
That basically you give this option for the pathologist to interact with all the data in your institution from this one software where you actually look at slides. So that is basically...
It's really cool how you can sort of like type in the chat and ask the...
And voice integrations.
Apparently they're really... Well, I'm not a pathologist, I don't know, but apparently they're really useful for like navigating. What's your take on that?
So I don't have specific industry-specific examples, but I actually use a voice to text thing on my computer. It's called Whisper Flow. I love it. Like, I don't want to type at all anymore. And like the next, so it's just wherever you put your cursor, this thing just types into. So like if I wanted to type in the chat, I could, but I'm not going to do it right now because we're streaming and we don't have so much battery. But like I was surprised how accurate it is, and like attaching an agent on top of voice command. How cool is that? Like, I'm kind of a bossy person, and these AI agents don't mind me being bossy.
Do this, do that.
Yeah, I'm like, I already told you that you were supposed to go to that document, and then like that's how I talk to Claude or ChatGPT, and they don't get offended.
I was gonna say, is that going to trickle over into family, and you're gonna be like, do this, do that? Well, you know. The agent does it.
Right, exactly. I try to separate, but you know, when I'm
a bossy person anyway, so I have trouble with that.
You will like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else on agents? So one company in the ToxPath space, the product is called Beagle, and the company is called Histify.
Oh, Histify, yeah. They're University of Warwick grown, so that's where I went
to.
So
they're here. Really? Yeah. Local people to you.
Local.
So they are working on, well, they already have a tool for ToxPath.
Yeah.
And it has, so toxicologic pathology, this is my space, preclinical pathology for drug development. And they are basically, they have built an agent that can do what an agent does, coordinate different softwares, different AIs. I can tell you that like not all the information is in one place. And if it was in one place, it would be very, very useful and would that would speed up work. That would, like, for example, I usually take half a day to gather everything and like do the interpretation of the stuff that's not before I even open a slide and start looking at them. So half a day, sometimes a full day to analyze the protocols, everything. So I want agentic AI to succeed. That is my goal. Like my intention for 2026 is agentic AI.
You want that?
Yes, agentic AI, because it's like you can take it outside of the regulated environment and still provide so much benefit.
Yeah.
And you can choose, like, you can infinitely customize it for your workflow, because obviously every lab has a different workflow. So you can like make your own.
Yeah.
So any thoughts for 2026?
So I've got an article coming out with like all of the big one thoughts, but I guess for Path, predictive prognostics is going to become much more relevant. We've talked about agentic AI happening. I think, so there's this thing called value-based care, which is a concept, you know, instead of paying, you know, fee per schedule and reimbursement, you talk about the whole patient workflow as you're making a treatment decision or as you're doing like a diagnostic test, and you justify the cost of that based on the entire end-to-end workflow. And I can see pathology moving much more towards like engaging in that conversation. Like I mentioned, like the role of the pathologist is going to evolve, and it benefits pathology to become more front and center in that diagnostic workflow, because it is where the treatment's made, but it often falls to the side in terms of budget and things.
Yes.
And there's these, so as vendors kind of say, we're going to help pathology departments become profitable. We're going to help them be like revenue generators rather than cost centers. That value-based care trend is something that I think they're going to pick up on and say, this whole investment is something that is going to pay off in the longer term, and it's going to pay off for the patient as well by saving them X, Y, and Z. So we're going to see that sort of lens of benefit extend, as it were. And we're already seeing it. Like Carista's posted a press release talking about like interop key and value-based care, and some of the vendors are talking about like
but that's like a healthcare shift. And so
it's a wider thing.
You, I had two things in mind, and of course I only remember one. So the value-based care, recently I was discussing in my morning journal club, there was a framework for breast cancer care. And obviously I cannot cite it correctly, but whoever wants to learn about it, it was like 1 week ago. But basically the concept was that it was a consortium that is trying to improve the breast cancer patient journey from the beginning till the end. And what they did, they didn't like do anything specific. They evaluated knowledge gaps and basically like the gaps for improvement, and they had like 12 or 13 different aspects, and they evaluated this and stated, okay, these are the knowledge gaps, and now participants go and try to figure out solutions to cover these knowledge gaps, cover these care gaps. So it wasn't like super specific prescribed initiative, which I was reminded by when you said the value-based care. And I have the other thing. You know why this is also super valuable for the doctors? So when radiology went digital, and I've heard that on the podcast from several radiologists, they started like making less money, and they had to work more with like all the automations stuff, and like this fee for service kind of model was not good for the physicians nor for the patients, because at some point, like when you have to do too much in a certain time, you're going to start missing things. So I am glad that pathology is engaging in this conversation before.
Exactly. Well, reimbursement's declining anyway, isn't it, year on year? So I think there's some sort of anxiety around, oh, if I go digital, does that mean that my reimbursement's going to disappear completely? So that longer term conversation, that wider conversation, is something really to bear in mind, especially as you're having, if you're a part of a wider healthcare institute, and you're trying to engage with the C-suite and say to them, your financial officers, and say, this does make sense, we need to do it. I'd fully recommend anyone to read up on it, and we can talk about it if you want, in a lot more depth, because there's some data that's showing the US is doing some good progress.
We should do a detailed podcast on that one. So what's up for you next month? You're going to be doing the article, right?
So
summing up 2025.
Summing up 2020. Looking forward to 2026 as well. So what are we going to predict? And last year we predicted like molecular and digital pathology converging, and that happened with page acquisitions, with lots of these prognostic models, with like Artera's breakthrough device designations. That was really good to see. We saw Gen AI become much more prominent, and that was what we saw with like Medela and all of those vendors. I talked about real world data, I think, more broadly, but that is really like data monetization and sort of using assets that are created as part of digital pathology is something that was really prominent at PathVisions. It was like a little undertone in the conversation. But for 2026, we're going to be sort of engaging more in the market research that we do, producing studies, interviewing more vendors and more pathologists.
So funny. Like we meet each other at conferences, and I talk to some people. I'm like, "Oh, Imogen, do you know them?" She's like, "Yes." already analyzed them.
It's my job, so, and I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to everybody. So if you ever see me at a conference, say hi. I like it.
Same for me.
But it's one of those cool things that we're looking forward to doing in 2026, is putting more numbers towards the total addressable market. There's like how many labs have actually digitized, and like how many of those have. What kind of digitization is that? Is it just that they've got a scanner? Is it sitting collecting dust in a box? Are they scanning
Which
slides?
I know
What's the
cases
volume?
of.
Yes.
It like breaks my heart. You put this like multi-$100,000 device and it's not working. It's like, for a digital pathology trailblazers, it's heartbreaking. I like want to take it home.
And that's just lost revenue. And it's like, how do we actually solve that? How do we get that back in use in clinic? How do we make sure that turns back into the investment that was supposed to be?
Yeah, because it's a tough thing, because people who like are just looking at it from farther away than the people actually involved, because they can be genuine things that make the scanner not work. Look at it and I'm like, oh, we already invested so much money in this and it never turned out to be working, so why should we invest in any other aspect of this of digital pathology?
I've seen a few vendors like in the AI domain sort of go there and say, look, why don't you trial out our algorithm with this scanner and see whether or not you actually realize the benefits for it as well. And that can be quite a good way to like reintroduce something, because a lot of the AI vendors struggle because obviously there's a stepwise process. If you don't have a scanner, you can't do AI. And they have to wait for that to happen. But if there's scanners that are sat there that are collecting dust, you can sort of say, okay, well, how about we get that up and running for a little bit? We can trial it with the AI, and then if it makes sense, you can buy more.
And that goes into this. I don't know if we talked about it, but that basically gives you tangible data where you actually are following your process and like checking your numbers, because this is such a long process. There is often a lack of structured tracking of what's coming back from this investment.
I have a question. So CAP and what they've announced with AI, I found that quite exciting, the AI studio.
Tell me about it.
So what they're doing is, it's obviously College of American Pathologists.
They did it with
18,000 people. They're doing it with Path Presenter. For I get the impression there'll be sort of more algorithms coming, and spoiler alert, there's bits more to come. So what they're looking at doing is getting AI in front of pathologists so that they can experiment with it. And I think that's really exciting, especially as you don't really, I don't know about you, but when I'm in the shop, I don't want to talk to the salespeople.
No, I just want to like look at my stuff.
I just kind of want to play with it for a little bit and go, oh, is it? And then I can go if I'm really interested. And this is nice little front shop window so that pathologists can sort of log on and experiment a little bit and go, okay, well, maybe this is for me, or maybe it isn't. And it's low commitment. But we're expecting some feedback for that soon.
That is so cool. I'm looking forward to looking at this publication. So I heard about it at Path Visions, because Path Presenter obviously was very proud of it. But it's an initiative that is backed by the College of American Pathologists. So it's like a big deal. They are bringing AI in front of pathologists, which is super cool.
I was excited about that this year.
Yes. So what's your next conference?
I'm thinking CAP's in San Antonio.
CAP, US CAP.
US CAP. So I think that one will have to be one, because San Antonio sounds lovely.
Yeah, and US CAP, it's a must.
ECDP is at a good point in the year, but so is ECP as well. So those are two to watch out for. ESMO, I was thinking, I know a lot of AI companies or digital pathology companies that now go to ASCO and ESMO, which is the...
I'm thinking about ASCO.
Yes. So do we need to do we need to say what it is?
Yes. Let's say ASCO is cancer oncology, right?
American Society of Cancer Oncology, isn't it? Yes. And then it's the European Society of Medical Oncology.
Yeah. Let me just double check that we're not spreading misinformation here.
And AC, is it ACR? That's another one that I hear a lot about.
AACR, American Association of Cancer Research. ASCO. Let's check ASCO.
Of clinical oncology.
We almost got it. So clinical oncology. I'm thinking about ASCO because a lot of immune oncology image analysis efforts is being presented there, so that's like kind of my professional interest. So
Path Visions, obviously.
Path Visions, definitely US Cap and Path Vision. So if you're there, we're streaming, girl. We must.
Sure. Oh yeah, we could do a tour of the exhibit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Be there.
Okay. I think we survived. I still have a 29% of my battery.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you, the next Global Engage conference is gonna be in Ohio in May. So if you're thinking of going to one of their events, I might be there. Are you thinking?
I've got to plan out travel plans, but I'm thinking,
yeah, exactly. We're going to be finalizing the travel plans, but I might be there. And if you are there, say hi. Let us know that you maybe saw this live stream. And we talk to you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Imogen Signify Research was my guest for this episode. Thank you for joining me at 7 a.m. UK time. Bye.
Bye.